That's life. That's death. Well, I guess that's, the end.
Welcome to the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast.
You know what I'm referencing there?
That's fuck, what's it called? Bambi.
Yeah, the old Bambi Newgrounds
Bambi,
cartoon, created by El Cid, who also created
Cid.
Batman Eats a Hot Dog. Remember that one?
The acclaimed film Batman Eats a Hot Dog from the producers of Batman Eats a Hot Dog.
From the producers. Anyway, who produced Batman eating a hot dog. I remember watching a parody of that where it was Pinkie Pie, and it was Batman eats Pinkie Pie. And
yes, I've seen that one.
He ate it.
Did he? I thought that was also El Cid.
No, I don't think that was him. I think that was somebody who...
Yeah.
I think that it became kind of a meme to do the whole Batman eats something.
I remember, yeah. No, yeah. I was having trouble visualizing, but yeah, El Cid. Fuck. I haven't thought about him in forever.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been up to, honestly, but I heard that he got like a job at Disney a while ago.
Fuck shit!
But I don't know if he's still there or if he's doing his own independent thing. Actually, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to do the El Cid animation update for us right now.
Yes, right now. And just while we're doing that, El Cid, if you want to come on the podcast, I don't really see why not. Tell us all about the production of Batman Eats a Hot Dog. It'll be awesome.
Okay, I looked up. There's a historical figure called El Cid. So
we can talk about that instead.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's dead. So rest in peace, El Cid. But what's happened to the animator El Cid?
Oh, jeez.
Rodrigo Cid, I guess, is what he's going by now.
Rodrigo. Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
We're going to watch Batman Eats a Hot Dog.
No, we're not going to watch it. This will not be the Batman Eats a Hot Dog podcast, but...
Yeah, what is he doing?
Looks like he hasn't uploaded in a year.
Oh.
So, yeah, he probably... that probably does mean he has, like, a studio job somewhere.
Yeah. So. And honestly, good for him. He's not making any money on YouTube doing animations.
Yeah, no, nowadays you wouldn't. But
Yeah, you would only do it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why they're few and far between.
I wanted to be a Flash animator so bad back in the day.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was just going to happen to me.
You get your own smiling friends.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens, but maybe El Cid is on Smiling Friends. I don't know. Maybe he fucks with those guys.
It seems like he might.
All right. Well, anyway, so El Cid, until you animate again, my friend.
I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
When I animate Batman eating another hot dog. Anyway, what don't we have something to talk about today?
Oh yeah, we do. We definitely do. For anyone who doesn't know, this month we watched. This is our first movie of 2026, and we watched The Tree of Life, directed by Terrence Malick. Now,
Terry Maller.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I recommended this movie sort of half expecting not to like it. Yeah. Because I already have sort of a track record. I guess there's only one other movie. But me and Ian back last year went to a screening of Days of Heaven. And while I agreed that it was a very well shot movie, it was like a beautiful piece of art. Mm-hmm. As a movie, I didn't really engage with it very much. Yeah, and I think that I was just basically I came to the conclusion that it wasn't weird enough. Like I was when I sort of hear about Terrence Malick, he's got this very experimental style, and I guess it wasn't what I was expecting. I imagine if I saw that movie again with an open mind, I would not think it was nearly as bad. So I guess what I did was I swung forward in his filmography to when he's more established with this style, and we come to Tree of Life. And
this was actually, I guess I'll do my background on Malick.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I saw his first movie, Badlands, which starred Sissy Spacek, the girl who played Carrie.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that was something he made in the 70s, and I was like, okay, that was a pretty good movie, but I already kind of knew Terrence Malick's style, and it was very much like a traditional narrative feature film. It was not what, you know, he would later be known to make, like the really artsy experimental style.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was like, okay, I really liked it, especially for a first feature. It was really well shot. It was really well made. I got into the characters and everything. But I also knew that it wasn't really an accurate representation of what the filmmaker was like.
Exactly.
In terms of his rest of his filmography. So I liked Badlands. It took me until last year to get around to Days of Heaven, just because it was screening around here. And I was like, okay, you know, I watched his first movie, might as well watch his second. And I think I liked it more than you, but it did kind of leave me a little bit cold. I mean, I definitely understood that style that he was going for more, like the slower, like methodical style, but I kind of wasn't really that engaged with it at certain parts.
Yeah, it was, it sort of, I felt it sort of meandered sometimes.
Yeah, and I can definitely remember parts of it that I thought were like really well done, like the seed sprouting out into the out of the ground into the, you know, becoming a tree or whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was, but I just remember the visual.
A tree of life.
Maybe that's what it was. So it was the Garden of Eden. And so yeah, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not sure if Malick is really for me. I'm not saying that but I was like, okay, I know The Thin Red Line, which, by the way, that was his third movie. There was a 20-year gap between Days of Heaven and The Thin Red Line. Like, Days of Heaven came out in 1978. The Thin Red Line came out in 1998. And then ever since he made The Thin Red Line, he's just been consistently kind of getting movies greenlit over the, you know, he's been making one every few years. It's been about 7 years since he's made his last one, and I'll get into that. But,
okay.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I assumed that The Thin Red Line would be the next one I watched. I had also heard of The Tree of Life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had heard very polarizing things.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. You said that you thought, or you heard that this was his best movie. I honestly heard not so much that it was his best movie, but that it was the most Terrence Malick movie out of any.
I think that's probably a better thing to say.
Yeah.
Personally, I heard about this movie from the Cinema Snob, I think.
And that's always goes well.
Yeah.
As we've learned with
back
Caligula.
in the day, he just, I can't remember if he liked it or not. I just heard he was, I remember he was
didn't like it. He hated it.
Yeah, I figure he hated it.
Yeah.
But he was very vocal and he hated it. And I always felt like any movie that the Cinema Snob didn't like is one that I would like.
Like vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. What, have you seen Paranoia? This guy fucking...
I have seen Paranoia. I haven't seen any of the other movies he made.
That's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the Cinema Snob movie someday on this podcast.
Oh, sweet Jesus! We will get to that. Yeah. But yeah, like I could definitely agree with that. It's not. I wouldn't say. Fuck. Like, okay, what I would say is this is the most Terrence Malick movie that. I can't imagine anything tops this. Even just seeing two movies, it's very, very much he has implanted this style in it. At some point, I expected, like, because Days of Heaven did have a traditional narrative. Like, you can sort of follow it. And this movie has a narrative, too, but it's not presented in the same way as Days of Heaven was, where, you know, people had dialogue and they talked to each other and information was sort of passed along to each other. This is a vibe piece.
Yeah, that's definitely what I got from it too, and I guess I'll reveal that I actually quite like this movie quite a bit. So
okay,
I don't know, what were your thoughts about it?
Well, again, I did not like Days of Heaven. I would give it maybe a 2 out of 5 if I have to give it a star rating.
Yeah,
it didn't grab me. But that's the thing is, I thought that I was just like, this isn't weird enough. Yeah. It's doing enough weird things that it's pulling me in, but I'm not interested in the story or anything like that. And this movie goes so far into the weird experimental stuff that I'm captivated.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked this movie, actually. Just surprisingly enough, I went into it expecting to not like it. And I enjoyed myself a lot.
Yeah, I kind of went into it with, I wouldn't say negative expectations, but tempered expectations.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I figured, like, okay, well, I'll at least, see things in the cinematography and everything, which, oh, God, I did.
Oh, my God.
But, also, yeah, I mean, I think that Days of Heaven, because it was kind of, like, treading the line between having more of a traditional narrative throughout the entire thing, and it wasn't kind of, like, going for the overall vibe. I mean, it was, but it was, like, kind of scattered between those two things.
Yeah.
And I really liked this one more, where it was like, okay, I mean, I know a lot of people criticize his movies for being pretentious and being, way too, thin on plot and characters. And I could say that that's all true, but I don't really think that that's what this movie was going for. I think if you go into a movie expecting that, like most people, I think that's what they expect when they go into a movie. But I think that, if you want to make a movie that's different and then focuses not so much on plot and characters, I don't think that's an incorrect path to take.
Absolutely.
And I think the Tree of Life really, engrossed me a lot in it.
It did. It's oh, yeah. Yeah. Turn your phone off. This is a professional production, Ian. But anyway, yeah, like, Tree of Life, like, really surprised me in that, like, there was so much going on in the cinematography, specifically how the camera is treated in this movie, and how, like, almost like it almost feels voyeuristic sometimes. Like you feel like you're like peering through someone's eyes into their life.
Yeah.
And that it feels very genuine. The character of Jack, and seeing him grow from like a literal infant to Sean Penn, and it's a really interesting idea, and I think a lot of movies do this. You think about movies like Boyhood, where it's like the idea it's a traditional coming of age story. Like, honestly, like if you break down the plot, like scene by scene to somebody, they'll probably wonder why this is a weird experimental movie if you're just talking about the facts. Because in whole, this is a movie about a child who was born in the I want to say the 50s, 60s?
It was the 50s.
The 50s, yeah. He was born in
that's when we see his part of his life that we're seeing right now.
Exactly. So he was born in the 50s, and it's basically just a straight-up coming-of-age story of him, dealing with his parents, dealing with his siblings and his own emotions, experiencing love and pain and heartbreak, like all for the first time. It's a simple idea, but it's how it's presented that really draws me in. And I think that is part of, like, a lot of people think that this movie is pretentious, and I think I have a really weird relationship with the concept of pretentiousness, because I find that if you can present anything to me in a way where you truly believe that what you're talking about is important and profound, I will be willing to meet you where you're at.
That's the thing too, is like a lot of, if you really think about it, any artist has a certain amount of pretentiousness to them because they want other people to, listen to them or experience what they make, and they think that they have something that's worth saying that people will gravitate towards. Even us in this podcast, we could be saying that we're pretentious.
Exactly. That's the thing is people say things are pretentious often, and when they say that, it often feels like a deflection of any sort of real criticism.
It's kind of a buzzword. It's like
it is
calling someone a Nazi nowadays. It has no meaning.
It has no meaning whatsoever. Like, it's anything can be a profound piece of art. Like I've watched video essays on The Simpsons that were profound pieces of art.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the presentation, and I think if this movie was presented straight up in a very traditional sense, it wouldn't pull me in. But because of all the experimental ways that it's shot, and because of how the story is presented in a very, I know that there's a lot of dialogue in this movie, but all of the dialogue really just feels like it's not falling on the dialogue. It's falling on what's happening right in front of the screen, and like dialogue is just to sort of fill in the spaces where you wouldn't be able to comprehend things or see what people are feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the dialogue, it's trying to be a little bit more naturalistic, where it just feels like conversational.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that. And, yeah, this is a movie where the narrative drives the dialogue, not the other way around.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, and it was kind of this thing, because I also knew going in that there was an extended edition.
Oh, wow.
Because... I don't know if you saw, but Eddie, You're Finally Home, commented on our last podcast.
Yes!
And he said that, he found the extended edition extremely hard to get through. And so it's 50 more minutes, so I picked
50 more minutes?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into, how Terrence Malick, shoots stuff, and by the way, because that's a big thing to learn about him. But, yeah, so there's 50 more minutes in the extended edition, and I think Terrence Malick actually said that the director's edition is the theatrical edition, because that's the one where he cut it out, but he wanted more people wanted more in order to learn some context about the characters, so he put it in. So I think that he recommends the theatrical edition more than the extended edition.
Wow.
But yeah, the whole thing that really got me was okay, I mean, if this is going to be what I think it is, I do want the shorter version.
Exactly.
And even though I did really like this movie, I am still glad that I watched the shorter version. I mean, I would probably watch the extended edition one day, but this I think was the better way to introduce myself to this. And because I did kind of feel it meandering at certain points. I did get a little bit antsy near the end.
Yeah.
And I wasn't this wasn't a perfect movie for me, but I think that it did so many things well that I was actually surprised at how much I liked it. And, going with what you were saying about the narrative, it's we see kind of glimpses of the child,
Jack.
I think Jack as a kid. And then we get kind of glimpses of him as Sean Penn when he's an adult.
Yeah.
And he mentions that his brother died when he was 19. And, we kind of have that hanging over the scenes with the children afterwards, because we know that something tragic is going to happen to the family. But even before that, instead of just cutting back to that, but from using Sean Penn as the I guess, framing device.
Yeah.
It doesn't even start off with the framing device. We see the kid at first, and then we kind of slowly get introduced to Sean Penn, and then he kind of gives us a framing device, and then instead of going back to the kid, we go back to the beginning of the fucking world, where we see,
insane. It becomes 2001: A Space Odyssey, where, he's like... The movie basically starts, it's my name is Jack. My brother died when he was 19. It really affected my family. Hold on, actually. Let me back up to the genesis of our known universe.
Yeah, so, it was going into that, and then, while I was watching it, I was okay, this is slow, and it's abstract, but I think the reason I'm getting more into this than I did with Days of Heaven is because I'm not trying to follow a narrative at the same time.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and again, I'll probably like Days of Heaven more if I watch it again.
Yeah.
And I probably am going to go watch some more other Terrence Malick movies first and then go back to that one. Because a lot of people actually do pick Days of Heaven as their favorite.
Really?
It's that and The Thin Red Line and maybe this are the ones that people tend to point out the most.
I mean, listen, when we saw Days of Heaven, we had just finished, we had just saw Bring Her Back, and we had literally drove right down to see Days of Heaven. So honestly, there's so much that was going through my mind. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace. Maybe it's awesome. But I guess that sort of shows it's a very polarizing way of presenting a story like this.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people they really gravitate towards different elements of Terrence Malick's movies, and then for the same reasons, people will be repelled by those elements.
Exactly.
And so it really is going to depend on the type of person you are. And just to be clear, if you like his movies, you're not pretentious, and if you don't like his movies, you're not stupid.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So I don't want to fucking open up that can of worms, because I know even the Cinema Snob, I remember him saying that the Tree of Life video was one of his most commented on videos because it just caused so much anger and vitriol from both sides. And so I guess Terrence Malick has that effect as a filmmaker. I can see why.
Oh yeah.
I'm not this is not a movie that I would recommend to everybody. But I mean, I think that you will kind of Well, I'd say that you would know going in, but I didn't really know going in that I liked it. I would like it as much as I did. So
I didn't realize I liked it until the movie was over. If I'm being completely honest, there was scenes where like there's little Terrence Malick things that bug me. In Days of Heaven, it was mostly how dialogue was presented in this sort of garbled, not really understandable. Like when you make a movie, normally you want the words that your characters are speaking to be very enunciated so that the audience understands. But it really feels like all the dialogue in this movie is a lot of it's just narration, and some of it is just, it's almost like whispered, like it whispered, and it's like it blends into the music, and it's like he said something, I missed it, god damn it. And sitting in a theater watching Days of Heaven, I was lost at some points. I guess it's not very accessible for people who have trouble processing that. I'm one of those people that needs subtitles on every movie just because it helps me
prefer subtitles in every movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's even just myself at like watching one movie versus another, depending on how I felt, I had two completely different reactions. So, like, it really goes to show like if I was in that same headspace and we were watching Days of Heaven right now, I might like this just as much, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And kind of going back to like the opening when we were like talking about the well, we didn't get to the dinosaurs actually, but that's one part of it. But I kind of, when I was watching that, I was kind of like, the way that it was structured with us showing like the kids at first and then Sean Penn and then going to like the beginning of the universe, I did kind of understand why it was cut that way.
Okay.
And I kind of understood what it was saying. It's like, when we say like the tree of life, obviously there's so many different aspects to life in general. And, these little personal stories, which are most films and, most narratives, are definitely a part of life and part of the human experience. And, but what else is a part of life is, nature, is dinosaurs, is like all this history, like the cosmos, like all these different things that are being shown to us. Like, I understand like how it relates to the tree of life, even if it's not explaining how. Like, I do get like the message of it all being interconnected, and it's like, you could even draw parallels, even though we didn't see the dinosaurs very long, you could draw parallels to that and what happens to his brother or his friend even who drowns like later on. So it's very much like commenting on, it's like, hey, this is like one solidated story that we're talking about with Jack and his family, and all these other things have happened in the cosmos and in the universe and history and all that stuff. And, they're both essential parts of life. Like,
exactly. Yeah, like us as a human species, we aren't the only aspect of life. We are the only ones that make movies about it. But that doesn't mean that we ignore, the birth of life itself. Like when we see like the birth of the world, we see like it gets like very minuscule. We're talking about cells, like splitting through mitosis. We see the nucleus of like one of the first cells ever born, and it's like, wow, we're really getting granular. Like we're talking about because I guess. Call me stupid, but when you say call a movie Tree of Life, you picture that there's going to be like a tree. But then as around that point, I realized that it's more of a symbolic thing of branching, lives branching out and touching other lives.
There are trees in this movie, and they do represent life. And
they do. Yeah, that's the thing. Is that there's definitely trees in this movie that represent life, and then life represents a tree in turn.
Exactly. So, I mean, life is all about, it's about the big scope of things, and it's about the small little moments. Like, it's about both of those things. And, I did really like that aspect of this movie, because I think that a lot of the philosophy that Terrence Malick was going off about, well, I say going off about, like, it's not like he was preaching or anything.
Right.
But, like, that he was kind of, like, showcasing in this movie. I mean, this is stuff that fascinates me, and it's kind of the way I think about life, too. I mean, I think about how, dinosaurs and history and the cosmos and religion and, family and, friendship. All those things are a huge part of life, and, nature. Those are things that I all experience and, hold in to, like, I think a lot of his hyperfixations are my hyperfixations in a way. But he obviously presents it in a different way than I would, which is fine. But like it's I don't know. I do kind of like the all-encompassing vision this has of, what life really even means, even though it doesn't seem to give us a solid answer, because I don't think there is a solid answer, but
it's very open-ended, as you could probably expect with a movie like this. It's very open-ended and wants you to come to your own conclusions about, the nature of life and what everything means, know? Like as Jack grows up, his perception of his life changes and things are sort of viewed differently. Another thing I wanted to say, and this is just coming to my mind right now, is that the production of this movie is sort of, every part of it is designed to sort of show like the growing up and coming of age of Jack. So like even for example, the first thing I noticed was the music itself. The score of the movie was incredible. I'm not sure who composed it, but it was incredible. Just because every piece of music felt like there's a scene near the beginning where him and his friends are running around the neighborhood, throwing a ball over the house and things like that. And that really did, the score that accompanied it really did feel like this is the soundtrack of that period of your life, just something so pure and untainted. It's something so simple as throwing a ball over the house and then running around to go get it and throw it over the house again. It's such a simple concept, and it there's some real pure joy that sort of comes from it,
Yeah. I'm looking at the composer right now is Alexandre Desplat, and he's done a bunch of stuff. He did like Benjamin Button, he did a bunch of Del Toro's movies, a bunch of Wes Anderson's movies, Harry Potter, Twilight, Jurassic World. Like he's done like a bunch of stuff.
Oh, and, wow. So definitely accomplished. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that it comes across that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is very complimentary, like you said. The music was something that I was getting into, as well as the imagery. And, it's a spiritual experience. I would describe it as. And obviously, I mean, Terrence Malick is someone who's infamously anti-interview, anti-red carpet. Yeah. I only found like a minute of audio of him on YouTube.
Wow.
I get like he's very much the type of director who stays out of the public spotlight every time he can.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. And so he's obviously doesn't explain much about his own. We don't know much about his personal views other than what we can glean from his movies. But I think he's pretty obviously a Christian. And yes. Like he's very much into like the the theology of it, and probably the I don't know, just the literal aspect of like what happens after you die. Like he probably follows the Bible pretty closely. And
of course, this is just to say that we're just speculating at this point. We don't know a whole lot about the man.
But I mean, I think that even in Days of Heaven, you can kind of tell. Like
exactly.
It's very much something that he abides by. At least I think it's pretty clear to me anyway.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You can definitely feel free to prove me wrong, but I don't think that I am wrong. And so with him making this movie kind of from that perspective, you can definitely tell that a lot of the philosophy of the Bible, which I would consider to be a lot preachier than something like this, because it is a religion, so it does have like a guideline of rules to follow and what to do. But he kind of presents that in a way where he doesn't outright say that his religion is the right religion. Like he doesn't show, there's no point in this movie where you see God or you see Jesus or
there's a couple of points where you think you could see like the idea of God.
You can definitely see something symbolizing those things. But obviously the tree of life itself is a metaphor for the Garden of Eden.
Exactly.
And so like that in and of itself plays a part. Like he's definitely trying to make you, if you believe in his religion or you don't believe in his religion, he's still trying to provoke your thoughts and, think about life in a different way. And, be that from the point of view of a Catholic or from an atheist or anyone. I feel like that this is a movie where it's like, it's not telling you what to believe necessarily about the universe and how we were all created or anything like that, but it's definitely telling you that you should think about it.
Exactly. It's telling you that it means something, and to just push that question in your mind is to waste the potential of that like introspection.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. This is already like really deep into the topic, but that's what this movie does. I mean, that's what I knew it was going to bring out of us, even if we didn't like it. Like, I knew it was going to like suggest these type of things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it breeds discussion.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of things. Like there's a lot. Jack seems like a little strange sometimes. Like, and that's normal. Like a lot of these coming of age movies, they want to make their protagonists like you know the everyman, like they want to make them relatable so that you want them to you know succeed. And he's got these weird quirks that make him seem a little sinister sometimes. Like there's a part later in the movie where he has a crush on a girl when he's a teenager, and he waits for her to leave her house, and then he sneaks in and goes through her things and steals. And he steals a nightgown and a necklace.
Yeah.
And he immediately once he leaves, he hides. He throws the nightgown away. It's like something. It's like immediately he knows he's done something wrong. But still, that urge came to him.
Yeah. Well, you could definitely. Another part of this is the family dynamic with Brad Pitt. His character.
Brad Pitt was really good in this.
Yeah. With his character, you know, he can tell he's a very strict father who, you know, borderline is abusive, I would say.
Oh, I would say by the end of this movie, I would say full-on abusive.
Yeah, well, by the time we see the whole thing. But I mean, I'm just talking, when we see him at the beginning, like, we're like, okay, he has a bit of a stick up his ass.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
maybe a bit strict, but, you know, it eventually goes into the, you know, how much the family dynamic, or how much it's affected the family's psychology. Yeah. And you could definitely get that from Jessica Chastain as well as the kids.
Who was also great in this.
Yeah, Jessica Chastain, I thought, did a really good job. I thought she was even better than Brad Pitt, because Brad Pitt was obviously like the big talker in the family, and she had to kind of like go off of her facial expressions to kind of, you know, communicate things, even though she did have dialogue and she did feel like a real mother. But yeah, like the kids, they're well behaved until, you know, Brad Pitt goes off on a business trip, and then they start to like get out of their comfort zone, and they start to, you know, be more rebellious. And you could say that that's like, you know, either part of their, you know, the evolution of where they've come in terms of puberty and everything like that, but also the fact that they were so suppressed by what Brad Pitt's character was doing to them, and they have a lot of anger built up, and, you know, it comes out in these different ways when they get older, which is true. Like, it's a very accurate representation of a not so good family dynamic, I would say. And it does make you, even though he's doing these weird things, it's like you can kind of see, because, you know, I had a kind of a rebellious streak when I was a teenager too. I did some pretty shitty things, and it was part of it was just like, you know, fuck society. It wasn't because, and which I think I was not entirely inaccurate in saying.
Especially looking at where you had a point.
Yeah. But I just didn't know the way to express it, so I just did stupid shit that was like,
yeah, you put on a Tigger suit and played in traffic.
Yeah. That actually happened, by the way. So yeah, so with this, it's like, it's a coming of age story where I really do feel the evolution of the characters and how they start and where they go. And when their friend drowns in the pool, that's when they kind of realize it's like, oh shit, like, you know, these things have consequences. We do, and we're not here forever. And, you know, there's a, you know, and that's kind of true of, you know, what we experienced as kids. Not that it was his fault that his friend drowned, but he did feel like he could have done more to save his friend. And I think that we do kind of like, or at least this is from my own perspective, I start off life as, you know, goody two shoes, and then I got more rebellious, and then, you know, shit happens, and you realize, oh fuck, you know, life is finite, life is fragile, and, you know, there's no reason to just be rebellious for those reasons. So even though this is kind of a weird narrative thing, I do really think that he touched on something with the way it was presented and the way that the characters actually do develop. Because even though I wouldn't say like they're the most three-dimensional characters, there's enough in there where it was able to grab me, and it was also enough supporting it by every other element that he was talking about in the movie, and every other element that he was showing, that I was like, okay, this doesn't feel like I'm missing something or it's lacking. It just feels like I'm getting information in a different way.
Yeah, no. Going back to the scene where his friend drowns, I thought that was really interesting because it showed another part of like Brad Pitt's character that I feel like he sort of changed around his dad after that scene, because you can see, Brad Pitt jumps in the water, he takes him out, and he's clearly not breathing, and there's no real attempt to save him from Brad Pitt. And it sort of shows, not only does it show how his father views, like he just sees that the boy isn't breathing, and he just assumes that the boy is dead and there's nothing else he could do. And after that, Jack acts really differently around his dad, almost like he's lost respect for him. There's like some virtue that he thought his dad held that he doesn't think that anymore. And like it's like that. It's like the relationships that he has with his parents are very nuanced in a way that I really wasn't expecting from a movie that really tells most of its story through, actions and not really telling you. Very much show, don't tell. I feel like, and again, a lot of this is up for interpretation, but there's some Oedipal stuff going on with him and his mother. Like some real Freudian shit. Like every time he sees his mother or talks about his mother, it's always in this ethereal, there's like, there might be like light glowing behind her. She's like an angel. She's perfect. Yeah. And I thought maybe I was looking too far into it, but then he steals that necklace from the girl that he likes, and we see his mother wearing it after. Yeah. It sort of brings that connection. And it's like, okay, this is very much like he's got some very unresolved issues, obviously, related to his mother, and how his mother, and like he must have a very complicated relationship, because he can see that she's strong. He can see that, she will protect them and won't hurt them, but also she was someone to like someone he also had power over, I guess. Like when Brad Pitt leaves on the business trip, they immediately start acting up, and he grabs like a lizard and he starts torturing his mother with it. Yeah. It's a funny scene, but in reality, if that would never happen if his father was in the house. Yeah, exactly. And he does kind of say at one point that he feels disappointed in his mother because she doesn't stick up for herself enough. Exactly. And he feels like she does deserve better treatment. I didn't really interpret it as an Oedipus thing, but I think that you might be onto something. Yeah, no, it's very much every time he views his mother, it's always in a very favorable light. Yeah, like if he didn't feel that way about her, I feel like his opinion of her would change because of how little she does. And I recently watched a river runs through it. The Rob Redford movie. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Yeah, and also has Brad Pitt in it, coincidentally enough. And that's another situation where you sort of see how, like when there's an abusive father in the household, and like the mother refuses to stand up for the kids, it really feels like she's complicit in these things. Yeah. But he doesn't view that at all, because he already has this undying love for his mother. That and I think that's mostly because Brad Pitt's character connects so much with Jack's brother. Yeah. I think I looked it up. His name is RL. Mm-hmm. And he is into music, and he learns to play the guitar. His dad is wanted to be a musician, I believe he says, but life changed and he couldn't be that, and instead he plays the organ at church, and he finds different ways to let that out. Yeah. And because he can connect with his son that way, he has a much closer relationship with RL than he does with Jack. Because of that, he sort of leans onto his mother, who he is able to connect to, but because she's of the opposite sex, it makes him not understand like the emotions he's feeling. It's a really interesting way to show this family dynamic. Yeah.
And if Jessica Chastain was my mother, I'd probably want to fuck her too. So it's like,
oh fuck! Come on.
I was gonna go there. So.
Oh my god! You had it. I was looking at you. I was like, you got something fucking locked and loaded.
No,
God damn. You know what? You know what? I don't agree. You're right, but you shouldn't say
it. You're right, but I don't agree. All right, that's a good fucking line. I'm gonna remember that. So, with a lot, it's also whenever he was like Brad Pitt was asking him to punch him, I was like, oh shit, Tyler Durden's back. And it's like I was like, that's something that I was remembering too. I was like, oh shit, this is Fight Club 2.0.
Fight Club the prequel.
Yeah. See, Fight Club is a good example of a movie where I think that's a very symbolic movie that you can look into or you could appreciate it on a surface level.
Yeah.
But that's the type of movie that's going to appeal to like more of a mass audience because like it's smart, but it's smart in a way where it's very accessible too. Like I think that the message of that. Even though I guess it's not that clear because people do go out and make fight clubs. But I feel like the message to most people is pretty clear, even though it still manages to be kind of like this weird stylized like thing. Yeah. Something like this is, I guess, when you take away all the accessibility and just make it all the stylized stuff. But, yeah, the whole thing is like, I don't really know how much more I have to say about the specific parts because I just feel like when you watch this movie, it's one of those things where it's an it's an experience. Like it's from my understanding, it got both applauded and booed at Cannes.
Oh wow!
And which is funny that like half
that's
the audience.
Awesome. I would be so stoked if I had a movie at Cannes and it got booed and applauded.
I don't think that Terrence Malick was there, probably, but just knowing him. But so it got it was put on many people's best of the year lists. Many people walked out of the theaters when they went to go see it. Like I heard stories of like so many people walking out of these theaters when they went to see it, just when it was in its full run, and so. Yeah, it's one of those things where very much like 2001 A Space Odyssey when it came out. It was very polarizing. Some people loved it. Some people hated it.
That's a really good point.
And it actually did have this thing where the reassessment years later, I feel like has been mostly positive towards it, as well as Days of Heaven, because I don't think Days of Heaven was that big of a hit when it came out either.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's probably why it took him so long to get the next movie that he wanted to make out there. Especially when he's such an uncompromising artist. And yeah, I'll get into that too. But with all these different things that were the reception of this is very much like 2001, and you can definitely see, like, much like 2001, it's exploring a lot of really deep themes. It's doing it in an abstract way. I would actually say that I can maybe interpret Terrence Malick's intent better than I can Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
when it comes to 2001.
That's what I was about to say. Like whenever I watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, I think a different thing every time.
Yeah.
But this very much has a clear-cut message. It's just presented in sort of an obfuscated way.
Yeah. So, and I think that that's a very fair comparison as 2001: A Space Odyssey. It does make me wish that Confused Matthew reviewed this, because I can only imagine what he would have had to say about the Tree of Life, or any Terrence Malick movie for that matter.
We are like 6 degrees of separation away from him. We could make this happen.
I'm like 2 degrees of separation away from him. I can get Gabe on the horn.
Get Gabe if you're listening. Get
good, Gabe.
Get good, Gabe.
Yeah. So and yeah, there's still stuff in this movie that I don't think I fully understand yet, and I probably would if I like read more interpretations and went into rewatching it again. But I felt that the stuff that they commented on and the way that I say they as if it was any more than one person's vision, it was totally not. But
it feels uncompromising. It doesn't feel like usually films feel like, you know, like a group thing, like the idea of the auteur. You got to realize that it's not just them, you know, lighting the movie and setting up like shots and stuff like that. They have the final say.
Yeah.
You know, within reason, but like it's a collaborative art. Yeah. But this feels very much like it's like as little collaboration as possible. This feels like Terrence Malick has his hands all over every part of it.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. Like I did look up like interviews with other people talking about Terrence Malick, and apparently, and I'm not surprised by this at all, he's notoriously difficult to work with.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's like, you know, there's actually a lot more in his scripts and stuff. That's why there was 50 minutes of extra footage. There's probably way more than that for The Tree of Life. But, like, there's so many things in his scripts that do not get made. Like, does Sean Penn even have a line in this movie?
I think not a spoken line. I think he has narration.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's, like, so many stories about, like, actors, they go in for a Terrence Malick role, and then their performance gets left on the floor, and sometimes they're even cut out of the movie altogether. Like, there's been,
I
like,
wouldn't
cases,
have been surprised if Sean Penn was cut out of this movie.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is stuff that Sean Penn said and did, and, you know, that was cut out of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I was going back to his movie that his last movie in 2019 was A Hidden Life. The movie that he's working on right now is called The Way of the Wind, and he actually finished filming that in 2019. But
shit.
He shot over 3,000 hours of footage for the movie, and he's been editing it for the past 7 years.
What the fuck?
Like, that's how much fucking overcompensation Terrence Malick has, and then he edits it down. So, like, obviously, whatever, like, there's a bunch of people listed on the cast for fucking The Way of the Wind, like Ben Kingsley and stuff like that. Who's to say if they're actually going to be in the movie?
Yeah, like we won't know. We won't know until it comes out. And like, that's a lot of fucking footage.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. Which is so weird because there's this very naturalistic way that specifically children are directed in these movies. Yeah. It was the same with Days of Heaven. Is children act very like, you know, I've seen children act like this. Like, whenever you see kids in a movie, they're always being directed, and it's always stiff because, you know, they're a kid and they don't have the experience of an accomplished actor. But it really felt like, you know, all the kids in this movie are told to, you know, act natural, and it feels natural. And the fact that he's so difficult to work with, it's so weird because it feels like a production where everyone just sort of went on vibes.
Yeah,
but it's not that. It's so not.
Yeah, and I'm sure that like there's like, I can only imagine what getting the raw footage of a Terrence Malick movie would be like, or even like looking at the original script or anything like that. But again, he just. I think he's probably an antisocial person, for better or for worse.
Oh yeah, the fact that he doesn't want to give interviews and things like that. I imagine.
And I don't think he takes notes from anybody. I don't think there's ever been a situation, be it the studio or an actor or anything, where somebody's given him a note and he's actually took that to heart. I think that he's probably doing things his own way. And on the one hand, I definitely respect that because he means he's not uncompromising when it comes to his vision. On the other hand, I can definitely see how I would not want to work with him in a collaborative form like filmmaking. And I can definitely see why I would probably be miserable if I was...
exactly.
Or maybe not miserable, but like I'd probably look at the final product and be like, wait a minute. No, that's not what I remember going on set, and, you know, how we shot this. So, I mean, it's kind of like... it's kind of like with Caligula, except instead of somebody else coming in and ruining the edit, he just does it himself, and it pisses off everybody in the movie. So
he was the porno execs all along.
He was the Bob Guccione and the Tinto Brass and the Gore Vidal all up at once in the conflicting way that he makes his movies. But
what a weird, interesting guy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know. He's now 82 years old, which makes me wonder: is he even going to finish this movie that he's talking about?
And if he doesn't, then who else could possibly finish it?
I don't know. Who else would he ever assign to look after one of his works? Is there anybody?
No, I don't think so. Like it would basically just go the fucking 12 terabytes of footage just goes into a vault somewhere. Like it's. I respect it. It would probably be so hard to work with a person like this, but at the same time, it's like it must be such an experience to have all these resources and have a vision in your head and have it put to screen, and when it's so abstract, you know, like whenever I think of things, it's very clear cut and simple, but this guy clearly thinks of things in sort of a very different way.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because the way that I watch it, it does feel like kind of a stream of consciousness. It's like whenever I like think, I don't think in full sentences. I kind of have like images that come into my head and like contexts and everything like that. So when he's doing this in his movie, I do kind of feel like I'm looking into his psyche a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Even to the point where the movie sort of starts with this like ominous. Yeah. It starts and ends. It's bookended by this weird light that's never explained, and it really does feel like the beginning of a thought, the beginning of a consideration of an idea of a feeling. You know, it's something so nebulous, and I think that's part of why people probably didn't like this movie very much. People who went into this. It's hard to grasp something that like again, by the end of the movie I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, and
I think that's how like a lot of people came out of 2001 thing.
Exactly,
back in, like, the 60s.
They're very similar movies.
Yeah, exactly. Both in terms of their theming and in terms of their storytelling, and I could definitely tell watching this movie. I mean, actually, I don't know if I should say I could tell, because I honestly don't know what Terrence Malick's influences are, but he definitely seems to come across as a fan of Andrei Tartakovsky. And Andrei Tartakovsky is another one where it's like I started watching his movies. I thought they were kind of slow burn, but again, the more that I watch them, the more that I appreciate them. And there's a lot of like slower, based cinema people who are kind of like that. Like I wasn't sold on Ozu when I first saw him. I wasn't really that sold on Koreeda when I first saw a Koreeda movie. Even David Lynch, when I first saw Eraserhead, I thought it was retarded.
Really?
Yeah, but like I rewatched it last year after his death, and I was like, oh man, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much, I guess that. I think we're just used to overstimulation nowadays, and you can definitely make an overstimulating movie. That's totally fine. I mean, a lot of my favorite movies are that, but I do kind of get into this like kind of slower, more spiritual feeling cinema now a lot more than I did. Like if I saw this movie when I was a teenager, I probably would have hated it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much, but also too little.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like people say with Ozu movies. It's like the older you get, the more that you kind of appreciate what they're going for. And that was true when I saw Tokyo Story when I was a teenager. I was like, but now like I've come around to his style a lot more. So yeah, I don't know. And that's not to say if you don't like this style or anything, it doesn't make you immature or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like for me in my life experiences and kind of how I've developed as a person, I can see something like Terrence Malick and I can say, okay, I do get why he does have an audience of people that really appreciate him.
Yeah, and to anyone who doesn't like enjoy these movies, I get it, but like maybe like if it's been a while, check them out. Yeah, because like it changes all the time. I talk all the time about 2 years ago when I watched Freddy Got Fingered again. Which is a fucking crazy movie to bring up in the context of Terrence Malick, but
I think it's the perfect movie to talk about in the context of Terrence Malick, because again, it's all these different elements of life. There's like the pretentious movies, and then the really ridiculous movies.
Yeah, they're the same. Freddy Got Fingered and Tree of Life are the same movie on different sides of that spectrum, and that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah. I when I was younger, I'm not even gonna say it's that like a maturity thing. Yeah. Like you can just change.
Yeah, that's
like you could watch a movie and think it's too immature when you're in your 30s, and then in your 40s watch it again and understand like that immaturity and the themes of it. Yeah. So yeah, even if you feel like this is not your cup of tea, try it anyway, because who knows? Like, anything can change, and I think it's really important to have that honesty with yourself, and not just be like, you when you talk about the layman who consumes media on the internet, it's very much, like what the I think of like Marvel fans, people who are like dedicated to this IP more than anything, and it's like, oh, I don't like this because it's not this. Yeah. And this is and like if you think like that, you're never going to experience art like this. Like, like you need to be able to meet something where it is, and if you don't like it, that's fine. And if you don't understand or don't agree with the messaging, that's fine. Yeah, but,
even if you don't like the methodology of how it's being presented or anything like that, like, it doesn't make it an illegitimate experience to have. But I do think that it's worth experiencing something, maybe not even this specifically, but something like this, because maybe you will kind of have an appreciation for it at some point. Exactly. Even if you don't think it's your thing. And again, we didn't even think we were really going to go into this movie liking it very much. Yeah. And, we did. So
yeah. I'm very surprised.
I didn't even know if you were going to like it when I was talking to you now. So.
I was certain I wasn't going to like it. I was certain.
I don't know if you saw my rating or anything, but maybe you had the same experience where you had no idea how I was going to feel about it.
Yeah. So. No, I had no idea. I didn't want to see. I absolutely was like, okay, this is a movie where Ian probably hates this or loves this. So I need to know for myself. Yeah.
And it is a cerebral experience, and one that I'm very glad that I had. And,
absolutely.
I will be happy to check out more of Terrence Malick's movies in the future.
Absolutely. I'll check out his newest movie, because honestly, jumping forward is in his filmography for when he's more set in stone, the way he presents films. I would love to see where he is now. Yeah. I guess now, 2019, like 7 years ago. I would love to see that. It would be. I feel like he is somebody who I might not agree with entirely, but his worldview is interesting. His worldview and what he says piques my interest. Yeah,
and I don't need to agree with everything that an artist is saying.
Exactly.
It's like I don't live in a perpetual echo chamber, so it's like,
and you shouldn't be.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people nowadays like to do, and that's why they don't have very expansive minds. And again, I'm not saying that I have a more expansive mind because I like this movie. I'm just saying that I'm willing to go out and listen to things that are not necessarily from a perspective that I would think about things, because I feel like I'm limiting myself so much from, I'm not a religious person, but a lot of my favorite artists are religious, and if I did want to listen to religious people, then I would be cutting myself off from this. I'd be cutting myself off from The Lord of the Rings. I'd be cutting myself off from I don't know, Johnny Cash. I don't know. There's so many different things.
We just recently saw Angel's Egg, and that is the most Christian anime I've ever seen in my life. And if I denounced Christianity and wouldn't even associate with it, then I would never have experienced such a great piece of art.
Yeah, I mean, if I can talk to Media Mementos, who just wrapped up his channel.
Yeah,
and I was he was the first person I collaborated with on YouTube, and it's and again, that's just from the point of view of religion. There's people from other cultures that they have cultural differences, and it's it's not not everything has to be just what I experience put on the screen, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for.
Yeah, people crave relatability, but I think alienating yourself is also a really great way to experience art. Yeah. When you feel like you are on a different planet and you are slow, because that's what it feels like when this movie started, the mumbling and I couldn't understand what he was saying. It really felt like I was on another planet experiencing art from a completely different culture. Yeah. When really it's just this guy's presentation of how, the world and life sort of.
The guy is from Illinois. And you think he seems like the most European kind of director that you would
absolutely
ever imagine.
Until you just said that, I figured he was from he must have been from Britain, great, like something at the very least, but Illinois, the most cerebral state.
Yeah, state of Garfield. That's where Jim Davis is
so
from.
Jim Davis and Terrence Malick.
Yeah,
again, two sides of the spectrum.
Yeah,
Garfield and Days of Heaven are the same movie.
Now I'm gonna have to see that put together like a Garfield Days of Heaven matchup. You already know the internet's working on that because
yep, we said it, so it's we put it in the ether.
It's also Garfield, so it's just in the ether anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like one of those things like Shrek. It's like,
Shrek, yeah, it's something that just won't die.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah, for better or for worse. And so, yeah, I really liked The Tree of Life. I think it was probably my favorite Terrence Malick movie I've seen so far. Out of the three that
definitely
I've seen.
For me.
Yeah, you've seen two, so you have even less context.
I've got Thin Blue Line here somewhere on
nice.
DVD. So
all right, a Thin Red Line.
Thin Red Line. I'm not watching the Thin Blue Line.
That's a Family Guy episode. So you can either watch Family Guy or you can end up watching Terrence Malick. So that's up to you. But
I don't want to watch Family Guy. I want to watch Terrence Malick.
Lois.
Holy crap, Lois! The world has begun, and
wow.
And I'm finally reckoning with my feelings for my father.
Yeah. So,
but yeah. I enjoyed it a lot too. As clearly as I said, I find that, you know, looking back on a lot of these episodes, I find that I like a lot of movies, and I wonder, like, do we just have the same the same like taste?
Have we disagreed on? I think that maybe Balto was the closest we came to disagreeing.
Oh
on
yeah,
anything.
and because I liked it and you just sort of didn't like it.
Yeah, I was just kind of like on it. I wouldn't even say that I didn't like it. I was just kind of like,
yeah,
you know,
no,
you were
just sort of neutral.
That's why I said it's the closest we've come to disagreeing. But
I would love to honestly watch a movie where we are absolutely at odds with each other.
Oh, actually, I guess I could go into my recommendation.
Oh,
it
yes.
might be like
that is. Have we ever done a segue before?
Into a recommendation? Maybe. I don't know.
Oh my god, that was slick.
Yeah.
Oh my god, right. We're getting good at this. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, hit me with your recommendation.
All right. So first off, I want to say that Dustin might come on for the next podcast as well, and the reason being is because I told him that I was going to finally get my revenge for Caligula.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
But I also, since we're doing the Tree of Life, I'm like, okay, I know of an artsy film that a lot of people dislike and a lot of people like, and it's also really gross and fucking disgusting.
Okay.
And so my recommendation for next time is Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. No, this is your Caligula.
Yes.
Oh shit. Yeah. This is. Yeah. I'm.
I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, good. And so we're both going into this with zero expectations.
Yeah, and again, I think Dustin will be on, and I was like, you know, you could sit this one out, because you know that whatever you felt about Caligula. He's like, no, I want revenge, but you know, I was actually, again, I don't know if I'll like this or not. I just know that it's like very polarizing. Supposedly very disgusting, and that's about it. I've heard of
polarizing and disgusting. That's enough.
Very
for me.
Artsy, I guess, as well.
Artsy and disgusting is awesome. I love when, because a lot of artsy films are like, you know, they very much want to appear, you know, I guess more legitimate. When something is disgusting, it really pushes people away.
Yeah. So maybe this will be I don't know, a cross between Tree of Life and John Waters' movie. I was watching a clip of John Waters talking about Terrence Malick, and he's like, yeah, he kind of pushes the line between me really hating him and me really loving him, but I think I really love him because it's just so pretentious that it's obviously a fuck you to the audience, and I appreciate that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I love that. That's a great perspective. Oh, yeah. You got to respect that. You know? You got to respect that.
All right. So if you don't want to miss Salo the 120 Days of Sodom, you can watch it before the next episode. I think we might be done. Do you have anything to add?
I think, we're done. We're all done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jessica Chastain, feel free to call me anytime.
Yeah, anytime. I'm sure she's listening to podcasts, looking for white guys in their 30s to woo.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So
Jessica, call me, and I'll direct you to Ian because I'm taken right now.
Yeah, I also liked you in Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, you were great in Zero Dark 30.
So anyway.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This is a fucking stupid show. Thank you so much for listening, guys. This has been the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. So, join us next month and bring your barf buckets, I guess. Yeah. So, we'll see you then.
Have fun with all the Sodom.
Have fun with all the Sodom.
All 120 days of it. In the solo.
In the solo.
I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying anymore.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye.